I'm here today with Ewan Beasley, Commercial Director of McBean Land and Property Group. We're going to discuss the upcoming changes to the repairing standard within the lettings industry. The Housing Scotland Act 2006 sets out the duties placed on private landlords by the repairing standard. It outlines the legal contractual obligations private landlords are required to meet to ensure that a privately let property meets a minimum physical standard, and a number of changes have been made to the repairing standard which will take effect on the 1st of March 2024. We've picked out a few of the key changes that we're going to talk through today. However, you'll find more details on our landlord's newsletter. I'd like to start with the requirement for water pipes to be free of lead. Ewan, can you give us some information on how you would identify this and the importance of water pipes being free of lead as well, if you can?
Yeah, so the lead pipes is actually quite a straightforward one. Unfortunately, with lead pipes, the only way of knowing if you have them or not is to uplift flooring and visually see if you have or have not got lead pipes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's as straightforward as that for the lead pipes.
Right, okay. Yeah. And what is the kind of problem with having lead pipes? Why do you think they're looking to implement this change in the first place?
So I believe there are studies that show that if lead pipes are present in some properties, it can lead to some health issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll now move on to the requirement for electrical installations to be protected by a residual current device, or RCD as they're more commonly referred to. What are the dangers or the difficulties with having an installation that doesn't have RCDs?
So, I mean, nowadays it's quite straightforward stuff for the electricians. Any new consumer unit or fuse board that is fitted is as standard has an RCD protection. So for many landlords, it might be a case of updating their consumer unit. That's not a massively costly exercise. So they'll be pleased to hear that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, kind of not having the RCDs, in a property, then how would a tenant find that? If there was something to happen to their shower or their electrical installation, then would they be able to identify that quite easily?
Would they be able to? Yes, I mean, circuits can short, and there's a slight possibility of electrocution.
Okay.
So that's why it's important that the RCD boards are in place to protect tenants from these sort of things from happening. Okay.
And just lastly, so again, kind of one of the key changes that's coming in, and probably the most important one in my eyes as well, properties are required to have a fixed space heating system, which would be a permanent installation in the property, which is either plumbed or hardwired and capable of maintaining a temperature of 21 Celsius in at least one room and 18 Celsius elsewhere when the outside temperature is -1. So we go into some properties, and it's they don't have a fixed heating system, so there's maybe oil or electric heaters which are just plugged into a wall, and then they move around. Obviously, that's not ideal and not an efficient way to heat your home as well. So I think particularly tenants will welcome this coming in. But can you again kind of just talk us through what the challenges would be with installing these heating systems?
I mean, installing a heating system is not a massive job. The good news for landlords is that if they're doing it hand in hand with something like the lead piping that we discussed earlier, is that if you're putting in a new heating system, it's a great chance to lift the floors and putting all new pipework and doing that together. Now, it is a costly exercise to a certain extent, but it's also a great opportunity for landlords to make their properties more efficient, maximise rent, and also upgrading their properties to a certain extent if they're putting down new flooring and obviously having a new heating system in the property.
Yeah. Well, that's how I see it. I think having a gas central heating system or a wet electric system, it makes your property more attractive to tenants as well.
Definitely.
So it should make things easier to find a tenant. As you said, the rent should be higher as well, and also long term, if you are looking to then sell your property,
it should be a capital appreciation on the property.
Yeah, 100%. It should just add to the value of your property at that point.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's really the key changes. There are a number more of changes that will be coming in. There's an article, as I said, on a landlord newsletter, which will give you a bit more information on that. However, if you do have any questions, then don't hesitate to get in touch with our property management team, who can give you a bit more information on these changes. We use McBean Land and Property Group to do a lot of our repairs and maintenance on the properties that we manage, and hopefully, going forward, if your property has any amendments that have to be made to keep up with the repairing standards, then we'd be looking to use McBean and Land and Property Group in a lot of these situations.
I think just on that, Connor, whether it's McBean or whether it's another contractor, what landlords could do now is really be proactive and go out and start to gather costs for worst case scenario. If I need to lift up my floors, I need to put in new pipe, I need to put in a new heating system, how much am I going to spend on this? And that's something that we can give them a ballpark on, and then they can start to plan that cost over the next year or 2 years or 3 years. I think that would be my advice to landlords at the moment.
Yeah, well, that's it. You don't want all this cost to come at the one time necessarily. Exactly. As well. And there is a lead in of about a year now to before these changes have to be implemented. Thanks for your time.
No problem.